Humans had always believed they understood the limits of the galaxy, their fleets patrolling the Zeta 9 sector with confidence, led by Admiral Marcus Hayes aboard the ISS Vanguard, their ships gleaming under the distant light of stars. Each vessel armed with plasma cannons, ion torpedoes, and advanced shielding, colonists on Epsilon Prime were unaware that a storm was silently approaching. Children played in the orbital parks while scientists monitored the planet's orbit, confident that nothing could threaten them. Reports of unusual energy readings had reached the command centers, but most dismissed them as sensor errors or minor cosmic disturbances. It was a calm, ordinary day in the galaxy, the kind that gave humans a false sense of security, deep in the void of Sector X-77. An alien warship known as the Blackstar drifted. Completely invisible to standard scanners, its hull black as the void, designed to absorb and redirect energy, and its weapons capable of leveling entire fleets in seconds. The ship's commander, Overlord Kael'thar, observed human movements with cold precision. Each human strategy noted and logged. The Blackstar waited, patient and calculating, biding its time until the right moment to strike. While the human fleets, unaware of the predator in their midst, continued routine drills and patrols, Captain Elena Cortez of the ISS Nova completed standard diagnostics on her ship, feeling the quiet reassurance of normal duty. But subtle vibrations in the sensors hinted at something larger, something beyond comprehension. On Epsilon Prime, scientists in orbital stations monitored cosmic radiation and gravitational fluctuations, noticing minor anomalies, but the readings did not alarm them. They attributed it to natural space phenomena. Below, colonies flourished. Trading stations transmitted routine cargo manifests. Children's laughter echoed in communal spaces. And life seemed safe. The human fleet sent out probes and long-range scanners, picking up nothing but empty space. Every attempt to detect the Blackstar failed. Its cloaking technology was beyond anything humans had encountered. Even the most advanced sensors reported no signs of danger. Admiral Hayes reviewed fleet maps with his officers, discussing potential threats from pirates or rogue asteroids, completely unaware that a warship capable of destroying entire fleets silently approached from Sector X-77. Messages between fleets exchanged pleasantries and status reports, none hinting at the danger lurking in the void. The Blackstar shifted its position imperceptibly, aligning its weapon systems and energy matrices, ready to unleash devastation. Its hull absorbed stray cosmic rays, reflecting them back as if mocking human attempts to scan it. Scientists on Epsilon Prime noticed small gravitational waves but failed to interpret them, attributing them to minor cosmic storms. Every signal the humans interpreted as natural anomalies was actually the Blackstar subtly preparing its attack. The calm of the sector lulled human fleets into complacency. Starships glided past each other on patrol routes, unaware that the hunter they could never anticipate was already in the shadows. Crew members joked in mess halls about routine drills, families waved to each other from orbital ports, and administrators planned the next week's inspections. Life proceeded as normal, yet a presence unlike anything humans had faced lingered just beyond detection. The Blackstar's energy fields shimmered faintly, invisible to human eyes, its crew silently coordinating. And Overlord Kael'thar calculated trajectories, power outputs, and potential human responses, knowing that when the moment arrived, humans would have no warning. The galaxy seemed peaceful, but the calm was deceptive. It was a silence before a storm, and every human heart, every sensor, and every ship was unknowingly part of a narrative far larger and more dangerous than anyone could imagine. That quiet, ordinary day in Zeta 9 sector marked the final moments before history would be forever changed by a force humans could neither comprehend nor hope to resist. At 1510 Galactic Standard Time, human sensors detected a massive energy spike near the Orion Expanse. The fleet on high alert as Admiral Marcus Hayes ordered the ISS Nova, led by Captain Elena Cortez, to investigate. The Nova and its squadron glided silently through space, their engines leaving faint trails of ionized particles, the crew aware that any mistake could be fatal. Scanners picked up nothing at first, just the emptiness of deep space. Then a colossal silhouette emerged from the void, dark and immense, unlike anything humans had cataloged. The Blackstar had revealed itself for the first time, its hull absorbing the starlight around it, rendering it almost ghostly in appearance. Crew members froze at the sight. The Nova's weapons locked on, but the ship's advanced shields were barely scratched. Energy pulses from the Blackstar struck with pinpoint accuracy, disabling the Nova's engines and throwing systems into chaos. The human pilots fired plasma torpedoes and ion cannons, but the Blackstar absorbed and redirected every attack effortlessly. The immense scale and power of the ship stunned everyone on board. Messages were sent to nearby ships like ISS Titan and ISS Resolute, requesting immediate reinforcements. But communications were interrupted by the Blackstar's interference fields. The fleet realized too late that this was no ordinary warship. The alien technology was far beyond anything humans had encountered. Panic spread across the command bridge of the Vanguard. Officers shouted orders, but the Blackstar's maneuvers anticipated every move. The humans could not keep up with its speed or strategy. Smaller ships attempting to flank the alien vessel were torn apart by concentrated energy beams. Explosions lit up space as fighters were vaporized in seconds. Captain Cortez attempted evasive maneuvers, weaving the Nova through asteroid fields and debris, hoping to find cover. But the Blackstar's sensors tracked every motion, calculating trajectories faster than the human mind could comprehend. The crew could feel the immense presence of the ship pressing down on them. The psychological effect was as devastating as the physical destruction. The Blackstar moved with cold, deliberate precision, its weapon systems almost alive, as if it could read the humans' intentions. Admiral Hayes coordinated with other fleet units, trying to form a defensive perimeter, but every formation was disrupted before it could be completed. The alien warship's adaptive shields and weapon arrays neutralized all attacks. Human technology, once considered the pinnacle of military engineering, seemed primitive in comparison. Fear took hold of the fleet. The reality of facing an invincible enemy began to sink in. Ships that had been on routine patrol now faced annihilation. Civilians aboard transport vessels were evacuated to the outer colonies. Alarms blared across stations and ships. The calm of earlier hours shattered. The Blackstar continued its relentless advance, obliterating smaller fleets with devastating precision. Human pilots and captains attempted daring tactics, coordinating multi-directional strikes and feints. But the alien ship adapted instantly, its firepower overwhelming every effort. Even the most advanced human ships, like the ISS Resolute and ISS Titan, suffered critical damage. Engineers and tactical officers struggled to find a weakness, scanning for energy fluctuations, weapon ports, or structural vulnerabilities. But the ship's hull seemed impervious to conventional analysis. Civilians watched from safe distance, viewing ports as their fleets were torn apart. Colonies braced for impact, everyone aware that the enemy they faced was not just powerful, it was beyond comprehension. Communications between ships became frantic, but the Blackstar's interference continued to block coordination. One by one, ships lost contact, the silence of deep space returning briefly between explosions. The enormity of the situation weighed on the minds of every officer and crew member. The Blackstar moved like a predator in the dark, precise, unstoppable, and utterly indifferent to human lives. Captain Cortez maintained her composure, issuing orders to maximize survival, keeping her pilots focused despite the overwhelming terror. As the fleet tried to regroup, the alien ship shifted its position subtly, aligning weapons for the next strike. Its strategy clear. Humanity was facing a foe that could not be reasoned with, simulated, or outmaneuvered. The enormity of the threat became undeniable, and the humans understood that this was not just a battle. They were witnessing the arrival of a force that could rewrite history. The Blackstar had made its presence known, and the first encounter left the human fleet battered, shocked, and painfully aware that survival would demand more than courage. It would demand ingenuity beyond anything they had ever imagined. Human commanders scrambled to organize a defense as the Blackstar loomed over the Orion expanse, Admiral Marcus Hayes issuing rapid orders aboard the ISS Vanguard. Ships like the ISS Resolute, ISS Titan, and ISS Mercury moved to form a protective perimeter. Energy shields flared across the fleet as plasma cannons and ion torpedoes were brought to bear. The human pilots hoped to create a concentrated attack that could at least slow the alien ship. Captain Elena Cortez coordinated with her squadron, weaving through debris fields and asteroid belts to attempt flanking maneuvers. But every tactic the humans tried was anticipated and neutralized with terrifying efficiency. The Blackstar's adaptive shields absorbed blasts and redirected energy, vaporizing missiles in midair and turning human weaponry back against them. Smaller interceptors and reconnaissance vessels were destroyed almost instantly, their remains drifting as cold, silent wreckage through space. The crew of the Vanguard watched in disbelief as the alien ship moved with deliberate precision, each energy discharge perfectly calculated. The psychological weight of facing a foe so far beyond their capabilities pressed heavily on every officer. Morale began to falter. Even seasoned commanders felt unease, as communications were jammed by the Blackstar's interference fields. Reports from ISS Titan indicated critical damage, weapons offline, engines failing, and entire squads of fighters lost in seconds. Admiral Hayes realized conventional human strategy was useless. Every calculated move met with an equal and superior counter. Engineers aboard the fleet attempted emergency modifications, rerouting power to shields, recalibrating weapons, and boosting engines, but nothing could match the speed and intelligence of the Blackstar's systems. Human technology, once thought unmatchable, now seemed primitive and inadequate. Desperation grew as the alien warship targeted key command vessels, energy beams lancing through space to destroy bridge modules and propulsion systems. The chaos was compounded by civilians in nearby transport ships attempting to flee, their panic adding to the pressure on fleet coordination. Captain Cortez maintained her composure, issuing orders to maximize survival chances, instructing pilots to focus on evasion rather than engagement. Yet the sheer firepower of the Blackstar made escape nearly impossible. One by one, ships fell out of formation, engines failing, weapons destroyed, and communication lost. The Blackstar's presence dominated the sector, its hull seemingly impervious to human weaponry. Scientists on board attempted real-time scans, hoping to detect weak points in the alien energy matrix, but the results were inconclusive. The ship's design defied known physics, its energy absorption and redistribution far beyond any human engineering. Even combined volleys from multiple capital ships had no effect. The Blackstar continued its relentless advance, reducing entire squadrons to drifting wreckage. The emptiness of space punctuated by flashes of destroyed vessels. The remaining fleet attempted coordinated strikes from multiple vectors, hoping to overwhelm the alien ship. But the Blackstar anticipated every movement, adapting shields and weapons instantaneously. Explosions erupted as human ships were torn apart. Panic and fear mixed with determination among pilots and crew, some attempting heroic last-ditch attacks to buy time for the main fleet. Engineers on surviving ships frantically recalculated trajectories and weapon outputs, trying any new strategy that could possibly work. Yet the alien warship remained untouchable. Cold and precise, Captain Cortez led a daring maneuver to draw the Blackstar away from vulnerable civilian transports, weaving through asteroid clusters and debris, attempting to create a distraction. The human fleet, though battered, followed her lead, hoping to survive the encounter. Admiral Hayes monitored every movement, issuing orders to coordinate defensive measures. But even their best strategies were met with immediate counterattacks. The alien warship's power and speed were simply unmatched. The psychological toll on crews was immense, as fear and determination collided. Every decision weighed heavily. Every command carried the potential for catastrophic loss. And yet, even in the face of overwhelming destruction, small acts of courage persisted. Human pilots risking everything to protect comrades and civilians. Engineers working tirelessly to keep damaged ships operational. The fleet's resolve tested beyond anything in recorded history. Slowly, painfully, the truth became clear. Human tactics alone could not defeat the Blackstar. Conventional weapons were ineffective, and survival required more than courage. It required ingenuity and resilience beyond any previously imagined limit. The fleet, battered and diminished, held together by sheer will, understood that the fight had changed. The Blackstar had shattered their strategies. And the humans now faced an enemy that could not be outmaneuvered, outgunned, or predicted. The terrifying reality of facing an unstoppable force settled in. marking a turning point where fear and determination collided in the vast darkness of the Orion expanse. The Blackstar unleashed its full assault on the human fleets with terrifying precision, energy beams streaking across the void and obliterating smaller squadrons within seconds. Entire colonies on Epsilon Prime and Delta 7 Outpost went dark as orbital defenses were wiped out. Civilians fled to emergency shelters, alarms blaring across stations and transports. The fleet tried to respond, but every attack was anticipated and neutralized by the alien warship. The ISS Vanguard, ISS Resolute, and ISS Titan fired volleys of plasma torpedoes and ion disruptors, but the Blackstar absorbed and redirected them effortlessly. Massive explosions lit up space as human ships were torn apart. The destruction was methodical, calculated, and terrifying. Captain Elena Cortez on the ISS Nova coordinated her squadron, weaving through debris fields and asteroid belts to evade attacks. But every maneuver was tracked, every path blocked. The Blackstar moved like a predator, calculating trajectories faster than any human mind could comprehend. Admiral Marcus Hayes issued desperate orders from the Vanguard, instructing ships to form defensive grids and concentrate fire. But even combined volleys had minimal effect. Engineers aboard the fleet worked frantically, rerouting power to shields, boosting engines, and recalibrating weapons, hoping to find a weakness. Yet the alien technology rendered all efforts ineffective. Civilians in transport vessels watched in terror as protective fleets were reduced to drifting wreckage. Families clung to hope as alarms and emergency broadcasts filled every channel. The Blackstar's weapons arrays targeted command ships with surgical precision, disabling bridge systems, cutting communication links, and vaporizing engine cores. The sheer scale of the attack left the fleet paralyzed. Even the most advanced human capital ships could not match the alien warship. The ISS Resolute's energy shields flared and failed repeatedly, explosions rocking the vessel as vital systems were destroyed. The ISS Titan attempted a coordinated strike with Nova and Mercury, but the Blackstar countered instantly, its adaptive shields absorbing attacks while unleashing devastating retaliatory fire. Pilots felt helpless as their missiles and torpedoes disintegrated in midair. Engineers recorded anomalies in the energy signatures, unable to interpret or counter them. The Blackstar's technology was beyond comprehension, its hull reflecting and redirecting cosmic radiation while simultaneously generating destructive energy pulses. Panic swept through the fleet as reports came in of destroyed ships, civilian transports, and shattered stations. The human command realized that no strategy could overcome the alien ship's superiority. Captain Cortez executed daring maneuvers, guiding her squadron through asteroid fields, attempting to draw the Blackstar away from vulnerable civilians. Small acts of courage emerged as pilots risked everything, but the alien warship was relentless, obliterating anything in its path. Admiral Hayes watched as his fleet's formation collapsed. Officers shouted orders, crews responded with skill and bravery, but the enemy's precision made every move futile. Communications were sporadic, fragmented by the Blackstar's interference. Desperate attempts to regroup were thwarted. Energy beams sliced through the void, vaporizing entire squadrons. Civilians and fleet alike could only watch the overwhelming power of the ship. Even scientists aboard tried to analyze weak points, scanning for energy fluctuations or structural vulnerabilities. But the Blackstar's hull remained impervious, absorbing and dissipating every attack. Small pockets of resistance formed as pilots coordinated last-ditch attacks. Engineers activated experimental modifications in hope of a breakthrough. Yet the alien vessel adapted instantly, neutralizing each attempt with terrifying efficiency. The vastness of space became a stage for destruction. Human ingenuity tested against technology far superior. Explosions painted the darkness with streaks of fire, debris drifting silently through the void. The Blackstar advanced methodically, its sensors tracking every move, its weapons unleashing devastation on multiple fronts simultaneously. The fleet's morale plummeted as they realized the enemy could predict and counter their actions in real time. The human ships, battered and fractured, continued to fight with courage, but even heroism could not halt the unstoppable force. Every ship lost reminded humans of the power they were facing. Civilians watched from safe distances, the screams and alarms echoing across colonies. The Blackstar moved with cold, calculated intent, targeting command hubs and key defensive positions. The universe seemed to hold its breath as human fleets were reduced to fragments. Captain Cortez and her squadron tried to protect remaining transports, weaving through destruction, but even their skill could not match the alien warship. Admiral Hayes coordinated remaining units, desperate to salvage any chance of survival, yet each tactic was countered before it could succeed. The Blackstar's assault left a trail of devastation across Zeta 9 sector, its firepower unmatched, its technology incomprehensible, and the human fleet painfully aware that they were facing not just a powerful enemy, but an unstoppable force that had changed the rules of warfare forever. Fear and determination battled within each human crew member as they fought against annihilation. The Blackstar had made its dominance clear, and the scale of destruction showed that nothing humans had ever built could withstand its wrath. Emergency councils convened on Alpha Centauri Command Hub as news of the Blackstar's assault reached every corner of human space. Generals and admirals gathered in the massive command chamber, their faces tense, hands gripping consoles, screens filled with live feeds of destruction from Zeta 9 sector. Admiral Marcus Hayes explained the scale of the devastation, showing reports of destroyed ships like ISS Titan, ISS Resolute, and ISS Mercury. Each loss a reminder of human technology's inferiority. Discussions turned to desperate strategies, multi-pronged attacks, ambushes, and diversions were debated. But every plan seemed destined to fail. Simulations indicated the Blackstar anticipated movements before humans could execute them. Captain Elena Cortez and her surviving squadron shared first-hand observations, describing how the alien ship's shields absorbed volleys and redirected energy back toward attacking vessels. Fear and frustration filled the chamber. Officers argued over resource allocation, whether to protect civilian colonies, save remaining fleets, or attempt a final coordinated strike. Communications with outer colonies showed panic spreading, civilians fleeing orbital stations, cargo transports lost, the Blackstar's interference fields preventing coordination. Alliances between human factions began to strain. Disputes arose over priority targets and defensive strategies. Some factions wanted to retreat, while others argued for a last-ditch offensive. Tension threatened to tear apart what remained of the human command structure. Engineers and scientists worked around the clock, attempting to decode the Blackstar's energy matrix, seeking vulnerabilities in its adaptive shields and weapon systems. Yet every hypothesis failed to produce usable results. Every test was countered by the alien ship's seemingly limitless power. The enormity of the threat became clear. This was not a conventional battle. It was an existential challenge. The Blackstar was not just a ship. It was a force capable of rewriting the balance of power in human space. Desperation forced humans to rethink their strategies entirely. Traditional formations, coordinated volleys, and fleet tactics proved useless. Crews on surviving ships adapted on the fly, focusing on survival, evasion, and protecting as many civilians as possible. Panic mixed with courage. Human ingenuity tested to its limit. Admiral Hayes attempted to maintain order, issuing instructions to fleet units, but the Blackstar neutralized every maneuver. Energy beams struck preemptively, destroying command vessels before they could execute orders. Even minor skirmishes between surviving ships ended in catastrophic losses. Captain Cortez led her squadron through asteroid fields and debris clouds, attempting to distract the Blackstar from vulnerable transports. Small victories occurred, but they came at high cost. Each attack met with overwhelming retaliation. Human morale suffered as the futility of conventional resistance became undeniable. Despite this, pockets of determination emerged. Crews risking everything to transmit intelligence, maintain shields, and keep damaged ships operational. Engineers developed emergency power reroutes, overloading systems to buy seconds. Pilots executed maneuvers no simulations had predicted. The Blackstar adapted instantly, countering each human effort. The gap in technology and firepower became painfully clear. Humans realized that courage alone could not win this fight. The alien ship operated with a level of precision and awareness that made humans feel insignificant. Yet, even in the face of overwhelming odds, defiance persisted. The surviving fleet tried coordinated strikes, But every strategy collapsed under the Blackstar's relentless assault. Reports of civilian evacuations, destroyed stations, and obliterated fleets filled command channels. The human command hub struggled to process the sheer scale of destruction. Every calculation showed that human forces were outmatched. Panic, determination, and ingenuity collided as humans desperately sought any advantage. Admiral Hayes understood the grim reality. The Blackstar had shattered every known human tactic. Conventional warfare was useless, and survival required ingenuity beyond anything previously imagined. The fleet, battered and diminished, held together by willpower and courage, attempted to regroup and focus on the few remaining civilian transports. Each pilot, crew member, and officer aware that their actions might be the last. Humanity faced a humbling truth. Their technology and strategies were insufficient. The Blackstar was a predator that could not be reasoned with, predicted, or defeated with conventional means. Fear mixed with resolve as humans acknowledged that this was no longer a battle of fleets, but a struggle for survival. Every decision carried life or death consequences. The full scale of the threat was undeniable. Alliances strained under the pressure, and the human command realized that history itself was being rewritten by a force they could barely comprehend. The Blackstar's superiority was complete, leaving humans with a harsh reality. Survival alone was now the most meaningful victory they could hope for. Despite the overwhelming odds, small pockets of human courage began to emerge across the Zeta 9 sector. Captain Elena Cortez led her squadron aboard the ISS Nova in daring maneuvers designed to distract the Blackstar and buy time for fleeing civilian transports. Her pilots weaved through asteroid fields and debris clouds, narrowly avoiding energy blasts that could have obliterated them instantly. Each maneuver required split-second decisions, trust between pilots and command. Absolute. Engineers aboard the Nova worked frantically to recalibrate weapons and shields, rerouting power to critical systems in the hope of finding a weakness. Even small deviations in the ship's trajectory could be catastrophic, but Cortez's squadron pressed on, willing to risk everything on Epsilon Prime. Civilian intelligence operatives transmitted detailed sensor readings of the Blackstar's energy signatures back to human command, risking capture or destruction. Their information provided the fleet with real-time data, helping remaining ships adjust their movements. Though it was still insufficient to mount a meaningful offensive, aboard the ISS Mercury, engineers activated experimental graviton disruptors, hoping that the untested technology could interfere with the Blackstar's adaptive shields. The devices emitted pulses of energy that momentarily disturbed the alien ship's weapon targeting, buying precious seconds for human pilots to evade. Small acts of heroism occurred across multiple fronts. Fighter pilots conducted kamikaze-style attacks, drawing enemy fire away from larger ships, risking their lives for the survival of the fleet. Despite these desperate efforts, the Blackstar's firepower and precision remained overwhelming. Explosions erupted as human ships were torn apart. The psychological weight of fighting an almost invincible opponent pressed heavily on every crew member. Morale fluctuated between determination and despair, even as losses mounted. Admiral Marcus Hayes coordinated the surviving units from the ISS Vanguard, issuing rapid commands to maximize fleet survival. His officers relayed updates on damaged ships, civilian transports, and squadron positions. Every order executed with urgency. Engineers calculated power reroutes and emergency repairs in real time, improvising solutions as the Blackstar adapted instantaneously to human tactics. The alien ship's sensors tracked each movement, its weapon systems firing with unerring accuracy. Yet human crews refused to surrender. Acts of ingenuity and bravery continued despite the odds. Small fighter groups used gravitational anomalies, asteroid clusters, and debris fields to approach the Blackstar undetected, launching precise attacks on minor components of its hull, sometimes achieving brief, fleeting success before the alien warship adapted and countered. Aboard ISS Resolute, Captain Darius Cole coordinated a multi-pronged diversionary tactic, splitting the remaining fleet into smaller units to confuse the Blackstar. Even as individual ships were destroyed, the survivors managed to draw the alien ship's attention away from vulnerable colonies, giving civilians time to evacuate. Across the sector, human engineers, pilots, and civilians collaborated in unprecedented ways. sharing intelligence, rerouting supplies, and transmitting sensor data, every minor success celebrated as a victory in the face of near-certain defeat. The Blackstar, though indifferent to human efforts, experienced interference in minor systems due to the fleet's experimental technology, temporary disruptions that allowed some ships to escape or reposition. These small victories, though insufficient to stop the alien warship, highlighted the resilience and ingenuity of humanity. Courage was displayed not only in battle, but in every calculation, every emergency repair, and every act of defiance. Captain Cortez risked the Nova repeatedly, leading charges to protect fleeing transports, guiding damaged ships to safety, and inspiring pilots to maintain focus despite fear. The fleet's remaining ships, battered and reduced, relied on these leadership efforts to survive. Civilians on colonies like Epsilon Prime and Delta 7 Outpost observed the bravery of human forces, their hope bolstered by the willingness of fleet members to risk everything for others. Even as explosions rocked nearby sectors, communications were maintained to the extent possible, coordinating evacuations and rescue operations. Engineers improvised, pilots executed daring maneuvers, and command worked tirelessly to keep human presence intact, despite the impossibility of defeating the Blackstar in direct combat. The small acts of courage and ingenuity created moments of reprieve, temporary survival, and inspiration across the fleet, each effort demonstrating that even in the shadow of an unstoppable force, humanity's spirit could shine. Defiance persisted in the face of annihilation. Survival became a testament to determination, collaboration, and bravery. And the Blackstar, powerful and indifferent, unknowingly highlighted the resilience of the human race, showing that even against overwhelming odds, courage, intelligence, and sacrifice could create moments of hope and fleeting victories that would be remembered long after the battle. The Blackstar moved into position near Alpha Centauri's orbital defenses, its massive hull casting a shadow across the star systems. At 17:45 Galactic Standard Time, the remaining human fleet prepared for a final confrontation. Admiral Marcus Hayes aboard the ISS Vanguard coordinated with the captains of ISS Resolute, ISS Titan, and ISS Mercury, each ship battered but still operational. The tension on the bridge was palpable, crew members gripping consoles, waiting for orders. Captain Elena Cortez led the ISS Nova in precise maneuvers, weaving through debris and asteroid clusters to approach the Blackstar from multiple angles. The goal was to concentrate fire on any weak points, though the likelihood of success was slim. The Blackstar's sensors tracked every move with frightening accuracy, its weapon systems ready to strike at a moment's notice. Human ships fired volleys of plasma torpedoes, ion disruptors, and experimental graviton pulses. But the alien warship absorbed and reflected the energy, turning attacks back toward the fleet with devastating effect. Explosions erupted across the void as capital ships and fighter squadrons were struck. The ISS Titan suffered critical damage, engines failing, weapons offline, its crew struggling to maintain control. The ISS Resolute tried to coordinate with Nova and Mercury to flank the Blackstar. But the alien ship anticipated every movement, energy beams slicing through the void with surgical precision. Smaller fighters were vaporized almost instantly. Captain Cortez maintained composure, issuing rapid orders to her squadron, trying to shield civilian transports and damaged ships. The pilots executed daring, evasive maneuvers, diving through asteroid fields, twisting and banking to avoid annihilation. Each move calculated, yet the Blackstar countered with unerring efficiency. The human fleet's morale fluctuated between determination and despair. Engineers rerouted power to shields, overclocked weapons, and repaired damaged systems on the fly. Every second counted. Even minor mistakes could result in destruction. Civilians watched from orbital stations, witnessing the immense power of the Blackstar, alarms blaring, families clinging to hope as entire fleets were obliterated in seconds. The alien warship continued its relentless assault, targeting command hubs, key defensive positions, and remaining capital ships. Admiral Hayes issued continuous orders, but even coordinated fleet strategies failed under the Blackstar's overwhelming precision. The void of space erupted in a kaleidoscope of explosions, smoke, and debris drifting silently. Human pilots attempted desperate kamikaze-style attacks to disrupt the Blackstar's targeting. Some succeeded briefly, drawing energy blasts away from vulnerable ships. But the alien vessel adapted instantly, neutralizing every effort. Captain Cortez guided the Nova through a daring maneuver, drawing the Blackstar's attention away from transports fleeing the system, her squadron risking everything to protect civilians. Engineers aboard the Vanguard calculated emergency trajectories for retreat, trying to keep remaining ships operational. The Blackstar's sheer speed and power made escape nearly impossible. Energy beams tore through the void, destroying anything in their path. The surviving fleet scrambled to maintain cohesion, their formations broken by constant attacks, panic and fear mixed with courage. Human ingenuity stretched to its limits. The alien warship's firepower unmatched, every strike obliterating ships faster than humans could replace them. Yet even in the face of certain defeat, acts of bravery persisted, pilots executing impossible maneuvers, engineers improvising repairs, officers coordinating evacuations. The battle became a desperate test of survival. Every ship, every crew member, every decision critical. The Blackstar advanced like an unstoppable predator, its movements precise, calculated, and deadly. Admiral Hayes understood that the human fleet could not defeat it in direct combat, yet the final stand aimed to protect civilians. Buy time and demonstrate defiance. The human fleet, battered and outmatched, executed maneuvers that stretched courage and skill to the extreme. Captain Cortez and her pilots pressed forward despite overwhelming danger, explosions illuminating the darkness as ships were torn apart, energy pulses slicing through space, the enormity of the threat clear to every survivor. The Blackstar's dominance undeniable, human courage and ingenuity pitted against a force beyond comprehension. The battle raged on. Survival the primary objective. Every maneuver, every shot, every sacrifice, a testament to human resilience. The alien warship moved with relentless intent, annihilating fleets, testing human ingenuity, yet highlighting the bravery and determination that persisted even in the shadow of destruction. The final confrontation at Alpha Centauri marked the peak of the human struggle. A desperate, intense, and harrowing clash that would be remembered as a moment when courage met unstoppable power. Silence fell over the remnants of human space after the Blackstar's devastating assault. The fleets that had once patrolled the Zeta 9 sector were reduced to drifting wreckage, energy fields flickering, and broken ships floating silently through the void. Survivors struggled to regroup aboard the few remaining vessels like the ISS Vanguard, ISS Nova, and ISS Mercury. Admiral Marcus Hayes coordinated what remained of his command. Scanning the sector for any signs of operational fleets, Captain Elena Cortez monitored sensor readings from the Nova, her crew exhausted but determined. The magnitude of the destruction was overwhelming. Countless ships, stations, and civilian transports obliterated in minutes. Engineers worked tirelessly to repair critical systems, reroute power, and maintain life support. Every effort essential for the survival of the remaining crews across the colonies. Those who had survived the initial assault were consolidating in emergency shelters. Civilians transported to orbital stations or remote planets, fear and uncertainty dominating their thoughts. Historians and scientists began recording the events as best they could, salvaging fragments of data from destroyed ships to analyze the Blackstar's technology. Every measurement revealing power levels and energy matrices far beyond human comprehension. Attempts to understand the alien warship continued. But even with all available intelligence, the Blackstar remained a mystery. Its power, speed, and precision unlike anything humans had ever encountered. Survivors reflected on the courage and sacrifice displayed during the battle. Small acts of heroism had bought precious time for others to escape. Pilots who had risked everything. Engineers who kept ships operational, and officers who coordinated defenses were remembered as the embodiment of humanity's resilience. Although the Blackstar had proven unstoppable, these acts of defiance and determination became a symbol of hope. Human leaders understood the lessons learned from the encounter. The universe contained forces beyond human control. Technology alone was not always enough to ensure victory. Humility and adaptability would become key for future survival. Communication networks were rebuilt slowly, with surviving fleets establishing contact with distant colonies, sharing intelligence, and planning evacuation routes. The human race faced a new reality, knowing that some threats in the galaxy could not be defeated by conventional means. Fleets trained for defense and war now had to consider strategies for survival against enemies far more advanced. Admiral Hayes convened councils with surviving captains, discussing reconstruction, resource allocation, and long-term planning. Captain Cortez contributed reports from the Nova, detailing the tactics of the Blackstar and observations of its capabilities. These insights, though incomplete, provided a foundation for understanding what humans faced in future encounters. Across human space, engineers and scientists analyzed debris from destroyed ships, attempting to replicate or at least understand the alien technology. Fragments of energy matrices and weapon components revealed possibilities, yet nothing could match the sophistication of the Blackstar. Even the smallest insights offered potential for survival in the future. Civilians returned cautiously to rebuilding efforts on Epsilon Prime, Delta 7 Outpost, and other colonies. Infrastructure reconstructed slowly, but the psychological impact of the Blackstar's assault remained. Stories of bravery and loss spread across human settlements, becoming lessons for generations to come. The encounter with the Blackstar reshaped human military strategy, forcing fleets to adapt to threats that could not be faced directly. Collaboration, intelligence, and ingenuity became priorities over brute force. The survivors recognized that humanity's strength lay not just in technology, but in resilience, courage, and the ability to act decisively under pressure. The scale of the Blackstar's power humbled every commander, every pilot, and every scientist. Yet the determination to survive persisted. The encounter highlighted the limits of human power while showcasing the enduring spirit that could overcome despair, even when facing overwhelming odds. Lessons from the battle were incorporated into training programs, ship designs, and emergency protocols, ensuring that future generations would be better prepared. Survivors shared their experiences across colonies, emphasizing teamwork, courage, and quick thinking. Admiral Hayes and Captain Cortez documented every detail, creating a comprehensive record of tactics, strategies, and observations. Humanity faced the harsh reality that some forces in the galaxy were beyond comprehension. Yet the encounter also inspired hope, as bravery, intelligence, and sacrifice had allowed some to survive. The 25th century would forever remember the day the Blackstar entered Zeta 9 sector, reshaping human understanding of the universe, demonstrating that even in the face of unstoppable power, the spirit of humanity could endure, adapt, and survive against unimaginable odds.